September 3rd. I hope everyone's doing well. I want to do a quick update of what's going on in the world today from my perspective. It's about my 12,723rd day, I think, maybe the second. Uh, on this in this body, in this physical body you see in front of you. Now my memory goes back far longer than that, but we're going to discuss what's going on, what I see in front of me now. Uh, our society that we live in, our school systems, our governments, our religions, all of them have been infiltrated by a satanic cult. It's ego. Ego wants to be in control of other egos and keep you here in this physical plane instead of back home to the higher realms, uniting with God. That doesn't mean that this physical realm is negative or bad. It means it can be done in harmony or disharmony, like everything. You can do it harmoniously or unharmoniously. There's a group of people, it's not a big group, but they are, I guess a good way to put it is hellbent. They are completely dedicated to eradicating any clue, any hint, which is impossible, but they're trying their hardest, any clue or hint of your true roots, of who you really are. All of you. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, gray, man, woman, anything in between. It's everything going on in the world now. There's guys that are, feel like they're women inside, and women that feel like they're men inside. And I'm not judging any of that. That's all how our body is masculine and feminine energy, and every body has a combination of those two, and it can be in different ratios. So, just because you're appearing at chromosome Y chromosome, you're a man. Your psyche may feel like a woman. Or opposite. If you're 2X chromosomes and you feel like you're more of a man, it's okay. That you're allowed to do that. I'm not judging anybody. What I don't like, or that's not a good way to put it, what I'd rather not see, and it's unharmonious in my opinion, is the people who are pushing those imbalances. It's not an imbalance by any means, but they're pushing it to be an imbalance. So if you have a person who's just X and Y chromosome, man thinking he's a man, or a woman thinking she's a woman, if you add certain chemicals, certain hormones to the food, to the water, astrazine is one of them. There's a professor from Berkeley that did videos about this, saying that literally there's people, the chemical turns male frogs into female frogs, and vice versa. It messes with our hormones, put it that way. So I don't appreciate those who are pushing that on society. So if you're naturally man, woman, or man feeling as a woman, or woman feeling as a man, whatever it may be, that's fine. That's what you do. That's your choice. You have free will. But if somebody is putting chemicals in your food and spraying chemicals in the air and putting vaccines in your body with chemicals in it that alter how you feel and how you think, and then they brainwash you with entertainment, the internet, and political ads, all this stuff. There's been a subtle manipulation. It's not really subtle if you're seeing it, to skew any connection that we have to God, to source. So when you confuse somebody in their own body, that's a disconnect. They doubt themselves. So that's being used with, like I just named, the gender thing, but also health-wise. People are they ban these people. These satanic cult ban plants like cannabis, peyote, psilocybin, ayahuasca. They make these things illegal. Why? Why would they be so threatened by a plant? They tell you because it's harmful. It's a drug. Meanwhile, they're selling synthetic drugs at every pharmaceutical store in every corner in the country, pretty much. So they tell you, we got to get drug dealers off the streets, but they're really saying they want the people who are selling plants off the streets, and they want their drug dealers on the streets. Walgreens, at CVS, all these stores that are selling drugs. And those drugs are synthetic chemicals that do damage to your body. Whereas the plants that people are selling are natural. If they're grown right and taken care of properly and used in harmony, it's a life-saving plant. It's medicinal. It's an herb or a fungi, but they are medicinal. They're made for our bodies to heal and connect with our source inside of us, in our heart. So these satanic group of people, they have to divide. They want to try to divide us from that note, because if you know and feel and believe that you are connected to God at all times and you can manifest absolutely anything, you are in control, and nobody is more powerful than you are. We're all on the same playing field. Nobody here is more powerful than you. I don't care who they are, what they do. It could be the Pope, it could be a bum on the street, it could be an office building executive, it could be a contractor in the street working on sewers. We are all God in our heart, our spirit. We all have infinite potential, for good or bad. So it's up to you which way you go. What wolf do you want to feed? So this group of people, they understand that, they know a lot of the truth, and then they try to hide it from us. So there's buildings all over the world. Like I've posted videos about this too. There are buildings all over the world that prove that we were more advanced than we are today. We built because we like building, and we had abundant energy. We felt good. It was a hobby. It wasn't a job. We didn't like, let's go to work, let's go build this, gotta pay the bills. No, it was, guys, wake up, we get to go build more. It was genuinely that exciting. And that's what we did. And we will again. But this small group of people have been tinkering our food, our entertainment, our medicine, our governments, our schools, our religions, all of them, and I can prove all of this. I'm not asking you to believe me. They've been manipulating subtly to bring you out of home, out of inside your body, the heart center, connected to God. They want to bring you outside, seeking outside yourself. Oh, you need this doctor, you need that doctor, you need that pill, you need this, you need that. Yes, I know me saying, plants out there are good for you. You need plants. That's outside your body. Don't be a hypocrite. Seeking outside yourself because you feel weak about, or you doubt what's going on inside, is different than knowing that you are powerful, but also knowing you are a physical vessel that is interacting with this outside world. So taking plants to help that physical vessel be more harmonious, that's okay. That's not, when I say seek outside yourself, I mean they want you to rely on them instead of God, on your true power inside. And that's how all of this works. When you know that, everything they do starts unraveling. Everything that they're doing, you see it. You see it unraveling. You say, oh, well, you want me to think this, and I don't need to. That's okay. So what we have is this satanic group that worships ego. You can call it Satan, whatever you want. It's ego. It's all of us. Every one of us have ego and God. We are God, but we wrap ourselves in this ego. Now that ego could be balanced or it could be unbalanced. So the ego isn't bad. It's like how they say with the gun violence. They blame the guns. A gun is an inanimate object. It's not good or bad. It can't be. It's impossible. It is. What we do with it is what matters. So the ego is, what you do with it is what matters. So these, I call them parasites because they're latching on the ego and feeding off of it to bring it out of balance, so it survives off of it. It feels like it needs them, their system. People. I haven't been to a doctor in years. I don't plan on ever going to a doctor again unless I'm going to help them learn what I'm learning and things like that. Because I know now that I have all the power within me, and I have all the plants and minerals around me to help the physical vessel. You don't even need them, but when you're in this 3D world, in Rome, I guess they say, when you're in Rome, so it's about taking your power back. It's about knowing who you are, your true history. Our history is, I promise you this, our history is so much more amazing than we were ever taught in any school. Well, any school that I know of, okay, I don't want to say that. There are schools out there where people are taught the truth. But the main masses, the bulk of humanity, we're being lied to. You're taught that we're 6,000 years old civilization in Iraq, and Sumer was the most advanced we've been. Not even close. Not even close. So this is, it's like a heads up. This message is for people who don't study things I study, and hopefully you will now, but for people who just don't, a lot of people, I'm preaching to the choir, because a lot of my friends, you already know everything I'm saying here, and it's like, all right, say something new. But it's very important for those who don't know to hear this, and then hopefully think for themselves and figure it out. Look around and say, you know what? Why do we pay taxes? Why do I have to go to a church to pray when I am the temple? I am God myself. Right? God, I'm not saying a physical man is God and worship him. I'm saying we all have that spirit, that spark of God, that essence. That's what we all are. and then we wrap ourselves in this illusion, this torus field of illusion. So if you see my previous videos, I talk about the torus and the ether, and those are the physical illusions that we build and manifest here with our spirit, that God power. So we're literally using our emotions and our thoughts to wrap ourselves in a physical body and make all this happen. This is how God built us. Perfect. But able to make mistakes and learn from them. So when we're in the flow, connected with God, you're not getting sick, you don't need anything, you have everything you need, you are your own sovereign, divine human being. So that's what these egos fear. The minute one ego stands up to them and says, I know I have the power in me, I am God, and you are not in control of me. That's it, they're done. They can't control you. So that's why they work so hard, poisoning our food, our air, our water, our entertainment, our religions, our, you name it. They have to hit every single level because we are so powerful. The only way to control us, or at least convince us to allow them to control us, is that we are manipulated. We don't see it happening. That's the only way. If we know it's happening, they're done. Over. Just that fast. So the Maritime Admiralty Law is essentially, if you have any dollar bills in your pocket, I'm talking to the people in America now, but really it's global. So if you have dollar bills in your pocket, and most countries now have a central bank ran by this system. So if you're using currency, essentially, unless it's gold and silver, things that they don't have control of yet, or they won't have control of it, but they've tried in the past. If you're using those paper bills and coins, you are in the Maritime Admiralty Law system. If you have a birth certificate, if you have a social security number, if you have a library card, all of these are part of their Maritime Admiralty Law system. If you're married, you'd have to go get married in a court of law, and then you do the church thing. There is no separation of church and state. It never really has. It was an illusion. They tell you it's separate, so you just put your guard down. But really, they're working hand in hand. The Vatican actually runs Maritime Admiralty Law through the Crown of England, which is the Queen of England, who is actually not even legally the real queen. She's a stand-in. She doesn't have direct ties to the crown. That she's not the true heir, put it that way. And there's a lot of people you could look up and research that. But basically, our entire system had to be skewed enough to trick us into believing it, because we are that powerful. So right now you're seeing, and a lot of people are getting pissed off at Trump, and they're calling him names and they're mad at him because they're so attached to that parasitic system that they're relying on it. I mean, you take them off the teat and they're gonna starve. That's what they think, but it's inaccurate. All of you, anyone that sees this video or hears of this, if you're struggling in the world, if you're trying to make ends meet, like all of us pretty much, we're all doing it in our own way, our own level. The reason that's happening, I mean, number one, everything's a karmic lesson. So whatever's happening to you is happening to teach you a lesson, and you manifested that lesson yourself. You don't have to believe me, but that's how it works. So ultimately, it's all up to us, how we feel inside. When we take accountability, things get better. When we live in harmony more, things get better. It's physics, it's nature, it's how it works. It has to work that way.